Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank the Honourable Member for his question, and also like to welcome the Honourable Numa Tewalu to Parliament, and also congratulate a lovely lady from Wainubuka, Wainufaya, who broke the record that stood there for 10 years. I think that is an example also what we need, greater productivity in terms of our school ability to run. Productivity, Madam Speaker, is something that's important to any country. It's something that we have to constantly think about. And I was thinking last night about these questions, about the concept of sustainable productivity. It's not just a question of being as productive as possible, but being able to sustain that productivity over a long period of time. When we look at the definition of productivity, it's basically the relationship between what you put into an organization, into a country, and what you get out. The input and the output ratio. If you have a fixed set of inputs, then the question is, how can you squeeze or get optimal outcomes out of that set of inputs that you have? And that is where when we're talking about, when government looks at the issue of productivity, we're looking at the relationship, input and output. What are the inputs? Inputs are people. They always talk about land, labor, and capital. The land that we have, how can we get optimal results out of that land? The capital, having access to capital that we can combine with labor and land in order to get the outcomes that we want, and also for the capital that we need. So when government strategy for sustainable productivity revolves around these three issues, and government addresses the issue of productivity at three different levels. What we call the meso level, or the national level. The kind of thing that government has to put in at the national level, at the organizational level. Sorry, I had it around. Macro level, organizational level, at organizational level, which is called meso level, and at the micro level, at the level of different individuals. So government policies on productivity address activities at all of these levels, at the national level, at the level of organizations, and also at the level of individuals. At the national level, we need to look at the quality of the inputs that go into producing whatever it is that we produce. One of the major input that we have is the quality of our people. People add value to things. If you do not have the right kind of people with the right mindset, with the right knowledge, with the right competencies, with the right attitudes, right abilities, you will not be able to produce the kind of outputs that you want. So if you look back at what government has been doing over the past few years, during the tenure of the Bainimarama government and the current Fiji First government, there has been a heavy emphasis on enhancing the kind of people that we have within our workforce, within our country. There has been a huge emphasis on educational reform. There's been a huge emphasis on making sure that everybody in this country can have access to primary education, to secondary education, to tertiary education. There's been a huge emphasis on the kindergartens to make sure that people at that very critical age group of 5 to 6 have access to the kind of learning that allows them to grow so that they can flourish, and ultimately they'll be able to produce the kind of outputs that you want. Yeah, it sets a foundation for us to be able to produce the kind of skill. If we have the brilliant strategies and the brilliant organizations in this country, but we don't have the people to work it with the right kind of knowledge, mindsets, and so forth, it all falls to naught. And also the heart, as obviously the Honorable Solicitor Mary Samson is talking about. So in terms of people, government over the past decade has invested a lot of money, a lot of effort, a substantive amount of our budget is focused on education. We have established the Fiji Higher Education Commission that looks at the work, that tries to make sure that all of the training providers and education providers in this country meet certain standards. And this Fiji Higher Education Commission then has a responsibility of assigning the money that government provides for these tertiary institutions and assigns it to all of the organizations that we have. It assigns the money that we give to the University of the South Pacific, to the Fiji National University, to the University of Fiji. It gives out money that we give for Tutu Training Center, all of these organizations, all of these training providers. The Fiji Education Center has been put in place. The Fiji Higher Education Commission, Madam Speaker, has been put in place to do that. Once again, it's a reflection of the importance that we attach to the quality of the workforce that we have in this country. Over and above that, under the Higher Education Commission, we have also established a national qualifications framework. The National Qualifications Framework looks at the quality of the qualifications that we need in this country. It has established national certificates in a wide range of trade areas. We now have national certificates in plumbing, construction, automotive. And how do they develop these certificates? They go out and ask industries, what is the kind of person that you want to do to be baking bread in your company, or to be fixing cars? They develop those standards and they ask all the training providers in this country, if you want to be assisted, your training program has to meet the national standard. So all of that work has been focused primarily on making sure that we can develop the right kind of workforce. Government has also put in place the Toppers program. What is the Toppers program? The Toppers program is basically government is looking at what are the key skill sets, the key types of people that we need in government to be able, for government to be able to achieve its aims. And then it has told people in Fiji, especially the students, if you want to get a Topper scholarship, you have to aim for these particular marks in these particular areas, because government is willing to provide you that Topper scholarship, because we need people in those areas to move government's agenda. Nowadays we know that we need people with science, with technology, with engineering and maths. These are areas in which we need a lot of people to be coming into the workforce, and the government has emphasized and is providing assistance for that. And we also have said, we have put in place the TELS program. The TELS program is basically saying that if your career choice is not in the areas where we have priority needs in government, but you get a place in a university or institute of higher learning, government will make sure that you will be able to take up that opportunity, even if you don't have money in your pocket. Even if you don't have money, we'll open up the opportunities. And I'm glad to see that we have a lot of students here today, and they will hear this and know that they have opportunities to take up within the education sector. So in terms of productivity, it's the quality of the input. One of the government strategy has been to make sure that this particular input, the human resource, the human capital that we have in this country, we invest as much as possible in it, so that people come out with the right knowledge, the right skills, and the right attitudes in their heart to be able to deliver when they enter the world of work. Secondly, Madam Speaker, the other great input that they talk about is people and land, access to land. I think over the years, if we will go back and read all the reports about the problems that we have had in economic growth, one of the issues has been access to land. Over the past few years, government has made sure that those who want to work the land will have the ability to work the land. At the same time, when we do this, we take cognizance. I'm answering the question. I'm answering the question. We have made sure that if there's land available, we need to make the land available to those that are willing to work it. This is why we have issues like the land bank. Land is made available. If it's not being used, we make it available to those that can make use of that land, so that it can be used for productive capacity. We can develop outreach, we can develop issues that help our people. The government has also invested in assisting landowners to make the
Honourable Minister, we really need to be more succinct. Sorry, and be very focused on the question, please, because time is order. Please allow the Honourable Minister to carry on. Time is going.
Madam Speaker, I am explaining that when you talk about productivity, it's about the relationship between inputs and outputs, and I'm explaining government's policies on how we try to make the best use of the inputs that we have. The inputs are land, labor and capital, systems and process and knowledge. So I'm trying to explain all that government has done to try to enhance the quality of those inputs. I've gone through, so that's what I'm trying to do, Madam Speaker. Can I continue? Okay. So there's a... No, I'm still back. I'm still answering the first question.
Would you like to make your concluding remarks?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The other part that I'm talking about is capital. Obviously, capital. If you don't have infusions of capital, you need to deepen the component of capital that you have in your production. If not, you'll not be able to get what you want out of it. Sustainability. Madam Speaker,